The good part about a private equity job is there is no typical template of a day, right? Every day is a different day.
For sure.
You're meeting different entrepreneurs, you're dealing with different kind of businesses, you're fighting different fires in your portfolio companies. You are raising funds, meeting your clients, and doing fun stuff like this, like talking to you. So it's every day is different. Form strong relationships, strong bonds. Today, my strongest support system is the relationships, the friendships that I built at IIT. So I think don't compromise on that part. That is really what is going to be differentiated as you progress. Life is not linear, right? This is super non-linear. So you and the next person can put in almost similar amount of effort, but that 1% extra effort that the other person has put can get them a completely different outcome. It won't get you the 99% outcome that the other person has got, right? So we were the lucky batch of 97 when we had to write the JEE exam twice.
Hi folks, welcome to this episode of this IIT Delhi podcast. Today we have with us Mr. Mitesh Daga. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Akshat.
Mitesh is a alumni from chemical engineering from the batch of 2001 and currently manages TPG Capital as a partner. So welcome to the show and thank you for hosting us in your office.
Thank you for having me on this show.
So any fond memories that you would want to go back to at first from IIT Delhi, your time in your hostel or your time in the department?
Wow. Yeah, there will be lots of them. It was, जैसे बोलते हैं बूंद से समुद्र भरता है. So there were lots of those memories. Starting with just the experience of getting into IIT itself, right? So we were the lucky batch of 97 when we had to write the JEE exam twice.
Yes.
So, and it was not just JEE, even DC, Delhi College of Engineering exam, there was an issue with the paper. So that had to be repeated that year. So that itself set a very interesting start to IIT.
But what about how did you get to know it first? So what were your reaction when you knew that you had to give the exam again?
Yeah, so IIT was obviously the JEE was the culmination of 2 years of hard work, a lot of studying, burning the midnight oil. You come back home after writing the JEE exam and you're ready to celebrate, and then someone tells you just look at the news, right? And you go and check out the news and you hear that this is going to be done all over again, and there's another, I can't remember, maybe 2 months or so. And you have to go through the entire grind again for that 2-month period because you just can't stop. You have to keep preparing. So it was obviously heartbreaking, and we had we had almost gotten padded up for cricket and had to get back to the grind.
No, I understand that. But what was it like when you saw your rank and that you have achieved it and you have gotten IIT Delhi?
Yeah, so it was not just me, a bunch of friends along with me who were studying, and all of us had gone together to see the ranks and seeing our names on the list. More importantly, seeing each other there on the list, although not all of us ended up in the same IIT, but the fact that we all made it, and it was obviously very exciting.
How did your time and your recollection of time changes from your first year to fourth year? What was the biggest shift that you saw in your own attitude, your own learnings?
A lot of nerves in the first year, coming off being, most of us were toppers in our schools, were doing well, and that's why we ended up at IIT. So coming from that pace, that recognition, there was a lot of hard work put into academics in the first year. First year also opened up the world to us because we studied a broad variety of courses, subjects. So it was very, very interesting. More importantly, you met a lot of different people, and they were family for you now because first time you were out of home, living by yourself. So all of those experiences made it extremely special, and we were discovering a new self and also discovering a new world around us in that 1 year. As things progressed, there was more method to the madness. IIT life was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was as much as you could take out of it. I mean, there was so much to do between cultural, sports, academics, some bit of politics. So it was a lot of fun, and all of that progressed over the years. And fourth year was a culmination of all the efforts. Placements happened earlier in the year. I was lucky enough to get a dream job in the first semester. So things were chilled out post that, and focused more on the relationships and the friendships in that last year.
But what is the transition like from a student life to a professional life?
So I got hired by Capital One to work for them in Richmond, Virginia, selling credit cards. Capital One was a pure play credit card company that got started in '94, and within 7-8 years of their existence, they became a Fortune 500 company. And that was all on the back of use of data and analytics, which is what we call machine learning today.
Yeah.
And they hired a lot of people from IIT to help them do that. There were 6 of us who went together between IIT Bombay and IIT Delhi to Richmond.
Right.
So we kind of continued our IIT life into Richmond. We were bachelors, knew each other, and of course there were a lot more people other than us over there, but with some money in our pockets now. So it was a good transition where you got to work with some of the best brains in the world and also enjoyed life. Capital One was extremely big on work-life balance.
Yeah.
So picked up a lot of new hobbies, new sports, and it was a very, very nice transition.
As per my understanding, that was the time when you started preparing for the CFA exams as well. So you were in US, and I understand CFA is a sort of a global examination. Could you please correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah.
So what prompted you to pursue that line? So letting go of chemical engineering in your IIT to pursue a full-blown financial career?
Yeah, to be very frank, we didn't really grow up being so thoughtful about what we wanted to do in life, right? IIT, if you were bright enough, you were doing well, so engineering kar lo, engineering karni hai, to IIT chale jao. That's how life started.
Sure.
And that, to some extent, continued. Capital One was a great employer. They encouraged people to keep learning. Right. And not learning just what you're doing on the job, but keep learning whatever you want to learn, right? It could be a sport, it could be something like a CFA program.
Yeah.
And they would sponsor employees for that. So I took up that opportunity. I've had a couple of seniors at Capital One who had been through the CFA program.
Yeah.
So followed their footstep. For me, it was more of an exploration journey. I actually didn't have much of a clue at that point of time of what the investing industry means and what the CFA program would do. But that turned out to be a blessing in disguise, right? So I did it just for the sake of learning and for exploring. And as I got into it and as I did the 3 years of CFA program studying, I realized how much I was enjoying that. And this probably had to be my calling.
Sure. So just down to the gut. So are you like, is the analytical, mathematical, and deductive part you rely on more, or is there also gut feelings and a lot of risk taking in that sense?
Great question. So I think as you're early in your career, you rely on your analytical capabilities and skill set.
Sure.
And that is what set me up for success in my career. Hard work and the analytical reasoning, analytical capability. I think as you grow into your career, the experience starts playing an important role.
Sure.
And you start building some kind of pattern recognition. There's pattern recognition in kinds of business decisions you want to make and kinds of people you want to take a bet on. So I think what you're referring to as gut or that pattern recognition, which is a combination of some data, but some gut becomes more and more important.
Sure.
And eventually it's the bet on people that you're making that becomes the most important. So having that relationship and having that intuitive judgment on people that you're betting on becomes most critical.
So you mentioned people, right? And people are sometimes uncertain in terms of how they're going to react, how they're going to be in scenarios where you both are entering in a first-time basis. What is it that you look in one person if you are making a relationship out of it? Be it professional, be it personal, be it long-term or short-term.
Yeah, so one of the best advice I received ever was to value people for people, right? So for what they are, and not do networking in the traditional business networking sense, where you're just collecting cards and having a transactional relationship.
Sure.
Investing in people for who they are and getting to know them as who they are is extremely important.
Sure.
The number one factor for me is trust. Can I build trust with that person or not?
Yeah.
That is number one. Once I get a good sense of that, on whether that becomes the foundation of a relationship.
Sure. So you started at TPG as a VP, right? And the road to partnership
Yeah.
has spanned almost over a decade, right? So were there relationships in play there? How were you mentored? And what is it that the current students who are looking up to you, what is it that they need to look out for?
Yeah, no, I've been grateful to work with some of the best organizations in the world and work with some of the best people in the world. TPG has been one of those. It's a extremely people-focused firm. We really take pride in our culture. We take pride in collaborating. We take pride in our entrepreneurial spirit. And when I joined TPG, that was the expectation, but it surpassed all my expectations.
Sure.
On the positive side. So yes, to your question, there have been mentors. There have been people who have shown the path, and no one is perfect. So there has been a lot of hard work. There has been a lot of learning, coaching, which has helped come all along this way.
Sure.
In terms of advice to students, I think number one is follow your passion. Number two is keep learning. And number three is, and the most important, is consistency. So I think IIT taught us hunger, right? There is the drive that all of us got from IIT. But the negative side of that was also the relativity between each other, right? So,
Sure.
I have my own theory of relativity. So you've got Einstein's theory of relativity, but we're not living in a world of Hunger Games.
Sure.
Right? We don't have to kill each other to survive.
Sure.
So with a relative grading system, and eventually you want to get ahead of the next person when all smart people are in a room, that becomes the tendency. And I think that would be a negative takeaway from a system like IIT.
Sure.
But someone who can think beyond that and create an opportunity or create an environment where everyone excels, and you don't have to really be better than the next person, but you have to be a better self of yourself when you wake up next morning.
Yeah.
I think that's important. So just bring consistency in doing whatever you do, whatever you're passionate about. Everyone can do a diet for a month. Everyone can save more money than what you earn for a month.
Sure.
Everyone can take your partner out for a date for a day or for a week. But can you do it every day of your life, every week of your life, every month of your life? That level of consistency is what creates the non-linear returns.
Sure.
We were all taught saying that you get out what you put in.
Absolutely.
But that feels like a linear theory. And this is again borrowing words from some wise men that I follow. Life is not linear, right? This is super non-linear. So you and the next person can put in almost similar amount of effort, but that 1% extra effort that the other person has put can get them a completely different outcome. It won't get you the 99% outcome that the other person has got, right?
Absolutely.
So you and I can both make great brands and marketing efforts, but if you stop at 99% and I go at 100%, all the customers will probably come to me.
Sure.
It's not that you're going to get 99 customers and I'll get 100 customers.
Absolutely.
So long story short, be consistent, put in the hard work, and go for non-linear returns.
That's brilliantly put. But now, what does a usual day for you look like as a partner at TPG?
I start out early in the morning. I'm more of a morning person. That's how my circadian rhythm works. I work out. Used to cycle. I was an endurance cyclist, but as you've probably seen in your Bombay visit, all the roads are dug up over here. So there is no more cycling now. So I hit the gym, do some weight training, get to the office early. The good part about a private equity job is there is no typical template of a day, right? Every
Sure.
day is a different day.
For sure.
You're meeting different entrepreneurs, you're dealing with different kind of businesses, you're fighting different fires in your portfolio companies.
Yeah.
You are raising funds, meeting your clients,
Yes.
and doing fun stuff like this, like talking to you.
Yeah.
So every day is different, but there is a lot of travel that the job involves. So I'm usually traveling at least a couple of days a week. And evenings is with the family. I've got two lovely daughters, my wife and my parents. We all stay together. So some family time in the evening.
That's good to know. So going back to your day and the aspect of dealing with other entrepreneurs, given that there's so much limelight now in the entrepreneurial space, people raising capital, profitability versus raising capital, and a lot going on in the media, right? How do you wrap your mind around all this? How do you keep sane, and how do you keep focusing on the vision that you have?
So I keep focusing on the
vision that you might have.
Yeah. So I'm in the investing job. We are in the business of backing entrepreneurs and backing good businesses, helping them scale up.
Yes.
And multiply the impact that they are making.
Yes.
We've been through a very euphoric cycle where there was some kind of FOMO. There was a lot of capital being raised.
Yes.
For businesses which did not seem to serve a purpose or didn't have a customer demand, and hence were not profitable, were loss-making. We kept ourselves out of it. We are not momentum investors.
Sure.
We are fundamental investors. And we like to roll up our sleeve, add value to the businesses. We think of ourselves as change agents. So I think we've followed that. We've stuck to our core.
Yeah.
And that is what has helped us sail through all these years. TPG has now been investing in India for more than 2 decades.
Yes.
I've been in the investing career now for 17 years.
Any common thread which you find in all of the entrepreneurs that you back?
Yeah, I mean, good question. For us, integrity has been the number one theme. It's in a country like India, where systems are not, or at least historically were not fully robust. There have been, there are temptations for entrepreneurs, promoters, founders to take the shortcut. And for us, avoiding that kind of an entrepreneur or a business has been the most critical part to our success. So just backing entrepreneurs who are extremely high on integrity, who stick to their value system.
Sure.
I would say that's the common thread.
And is there so I also see a trend in IITians hiring IITians, right? And I think that might be true for you as well. What is it that you look as a recruiter in the current crop of people that you pick?
From a raw talent perspective, I would say curiosity is extremely important. So intelligence is hygiene. Most of the people that we interview or hire are extremely smart people, come with very high IQ.
Sure.
But that curiosity to keep growing, to keep learning, that becomes extremely important. And then, of course, we're looking for good work ethics, good attitude, good cultural fit.
Sure. And how do you reflect back on your years while you were in college versus the current crop? So what sort of a difference do you see in the things that you mentioned?
I think we were very uninformed, right? So 2021, it's more than, we are in 2023 and 2001 when I graduated. It's more than a 20-year gap.
Yes.
Internet was just beginning to come in at that point of time.
Yeah.
Mobile phones were not very prevalent, and few of us had them, but they were still the Nokias of the world and not the smartphones.
Yeah.
So libraries were still in vogue. We would still spend a lot of time in libraries trying to soak up whatever we can.
Sure.
But the world has changed today. So we find the new crop coming up being extremely well informed, with a lot of clarity on what they want to do, what they want to pursue. I think things that we learned 5, 6, even 10 years after IIT, they already know all of that. And I see kids trying to now do CFA along with IIT.
Yes.
That's insane, right? Like I told you, I didn't know what CFA is until I went to the US.
Sure.
And also the amount of time that the midnight oil that they're burning is probably more than what we did. The competition has increased.
Sure.
So it's definitely a different world.
So is there a difficulty finding the well-rounded crop that you mentioned? Because as you already said, it requires you to put in more number of hours or to load up the information more or to process it as well. Do you also find gaps in understanding of what they have on the other side versus what actually happens?
Yeah, I think in doing all of this, what you probably miss out is the lighter moments at IIT, right? And the relationships and the people aspect.
Sure.
So I would just encourage them to do more of that. Technical skills you learn on the job.
Yeah.
You will learn technical skills on the job. You will get opportunity to learn from other people and also learn from the various online programs and other training options that are available today. But use the time on IIT to follow your passion outside the academics, explore different areas for you. That could be dramatics, it could be tennis, it could be chess, it could be debating, and form that other side of yourself and form strong relationships, strong bonds. Today, my strongest support system is the relationships, the friendships that I built at IIT.
Sure.
So I think don't compromise on that part. That is really what is going to be differentiated as you progress.
Yeah, I think I usually prompt people to say something they'll say.
Yeah.
I think it already was that.
Yeah.
So we'll just wrap up this
Sure.
wrap this podcast up. So there's a small rapid fire that we do at the end.
Okay.
Where we just try to understand your inclinations. So your hostel versus your department.
Hostel for sure.
Hostel for sure. Your preparation for IIT Delhi or preparation for CFA?
IIT Delhi. JEE was a lot more intense.
Intense. Yeah, so which one did you enjoy more?
CFA I enjoyed more, I would say. It was a program that I was exploring, and like I said, I started getting more into it and really enjoyed the investing part here.
Sure. KLS or MES?
KLS.
First year or fourth year?
Both, actually. It's a tough one. Both, as we discussed at the beginning, had very different attributes to it. But if I was to pick, I would say first year, because that's where the real bonds and the friendships got built.
Sure. Library or Venti?
Venti.
Rendezvous or convocation?
Rendezvous.
And Amchi Mumbai or Sadi Delhi?
Sadly, Amchi Mumbai. So if it was IIT Delhi versus Amchi Mumbai, maybe IIT Delhi, but
sure.
Amchi Mumbai for sure.
Your student life or your current life?
Both, again, I really enjoy both. So I would not have, I think both at their time, at the stage of life, have been phenomenal.
Sure. Thank you for the time. Thank you for
Thanks, Akshay. Really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.